lift me up and represent. None of y'all know me. 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 No. None of y'all know me. None of y'all know. No. None of y'all know me. None of y'all know me. Hey.
Thousands on your dreams and not on me. Thousands on your dreams and not on me. It's like no. Couple times.
And we have returned, folks. You are listening to The Ryan Show FM with your host, Ryan Vernell, and New York Giants safety, Sammy Garnes.
In the building. What's up, Fabe? What's up, people?
Feeling lit, Sam. I got to be honest. This CBD, I thought I was puffing on that CBD. It turns out it must have been Hampton's Dave's pen. Because I'm feeling a little bit litty-titty.
What does he have in that pen?
God only knows.
Okay.
God only knows.
Yeah, but that CBD is like it's important to understand it because once you get the right dosage, it's like smoking a cigar. Sometimes you smoke cigars and you walk away feeling like you high or something.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
A nice Cuban will make you feel like you smoked a whole pack of cigarettes to the face.
At times, no doubt about it.
Lit.
Full body cigar.
And what do you think, Christy? Has your opinions on CBD changed after getting high off of CBD?
Yeah, I honestly feel like I was feeling lifted, like I was feeling like I was in a better mood, right. Which is really interesting. You know, I'm a pretty good person to test it on because I'm like sober and I'm skeptical and I'm honest.
Oh, you was great.
So I'm a pretty good person to test it on. I felt like I was in a better mood. Now I'm feeling the fear of like, I think there's THC in there, honestly. Well,
CBD, if you look at it, it's always a tad bit, no matter what it is.
It's like kombucha, yeah.
0.1,
there's something in there.
It's not a big deal to even the government.
But for me, like I was saying, I'm really sensitive with weed, with THC, and so that little bit is like bad, you know.
The downward spiral has begun.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Headed down the wrong path.
And on that note, headed down the wrong path.
Man,
that
bad.
Reminds me of a certain franchise that you used to play for, Sam Garnes.
Yep. I know you. What team is? Should I guess?
It really could be either one of the teams you used to play for.
Yeah, we're having some trouble these days, but I will say this: the Giants' future looks bright. I think if you got a quarterback in place, you have a chance to have a healthy franchise moving forward.
So you have faith in Daniel Jones,
I really
even
do.
after this last performance.
I really do. Like, this is one thing I know as an athlete and as ex-coach is that usually, like, for example, for myself, I was drafted in the 5th round. And when you get drafted in the 5th round, there's a reason. It's not just because you're great and they're hiding you. No, you don't slip down to the 5th round unless there's some flaws. Yeah. And same thing with Daniel Jones. He has some flaws, but that's where good coaching comes into play. Because the things they do well is so good. Like he makes it.
He didn't even go down to the 5th round. He was the 5th pick of the draft.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm tripping. What I'm saying. So I meant to say this. So me being a 5th round pick, that's the case. But for him being a 5th pick, but going into a lot of teams had negative things to say about him, and that's usually for a reason. You don't just say that. It's a reason. He has some flaws that stood out. The Giants felt like no matter what, that's their quarterback. They ain't got him.
Like he played for Duke.
He played for Duke, but I don't think that was the biggest problem. I think a lot of people think that, but it's not. It's the way he played when he played for Duke. He didn't always play his best game.
He wasn't really dominant.
He wasn't dominant. Exactly right. And he had some games that a guy like that, you'll watch that game, you say, wow, this guy know being in the NFL. But then there's games he had that was pretty good. And he has some characteristics of Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. And the reason he does, because his old head coach for Duke coached both of those guys. So that's the thing people need to understand. When the Giants turned on tape, they saw things that you can't teach a guy in enough time when you get to the NFL, and they don't have to teach that. So we got to work on other things, and to me, that's a recipe for a good player.
Makes sense. So you already knew all those things getting into the NFL.
Exactly, they knew it.
So I see that you brought a good amount of notes here for our sports
absolutely
this week.
Not. That was with Kim. But
that was for the Kim.
That was for the Kim interview. But I'm ready. Like this is sports. Let's do it. This is what
you're here for. This is what you know about.
I paid attention, and I was ready just in case. But those notes are. I'll be lying to you if I tell you those notes.
So that being said, we've got some big games coming up this weekend in the NFL.
Let's speak on them.
And let's start with our very own New York Giants. What do you think is going to go down this week?
The New York Giants, they play this week? They play the New England Patriots this week on Thursday night, if I'm not mistaken. And it's not going to, like Bill Belichick, he doesn't play around with rookies. No. They're not going to fare well against him, not only because of his prowess and his mentality, but he has the players. His team is their team. The defense is really the one. I don't want to sound crazy, but they're carrying the team this year. Not that Tom Brady isn't good enough anymore, but the defense is so great. They only give up, I think, 2 touchdowns the whole year.
And that's different. The Patriots defense really hasn't been as crazy. Back in the day it was really good.
Yep.
What is the difference this
year?
It
is they have a lot of carryover. There's been a lot of players that's on this team that has been around for a couple years now. And you look at the secondary, they got players they got 2 brothers playing back, the McCourty twins. They got twins playing back there. So these guys are really in sync, and it goes all the way down to D-line. And their defensive coordinator, believe it or not, is a player that doesn't have the title, but he is the defensive coordinator. He just finished playing like a year or 2 ago, and he's their defensive coordinator right now. And so they're just intact. They're playing well together. And, of course, they got them 2. They got Bill and they got Tom, so that doesn't hurt you either.
And what do you think about the Patriots' moral standpoint on this season? I know a lot of people are upset about them picking up Antonio Brown and then quickly releasing him, not having his side when all this stuff isn't really even done yet.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think he wasn't proven guilty. And, of course, there's some information now.
Guilty of
whatever he's been.
Oh, okay.
He's been accused of a lot of things.
I'm not saying that he's not guilty or he is guilty. I'm not making a judgment on that.
And the charges were
all different types of harassment, sexual harassment.
No charge.
He's been farting in people's faces.
Let me just say, the only charges he has right now is the furniture thrown incident from his complex. That's it. Everything else is on the side.
He just threw some furniture around?
He threw some furniture off. I don't know all the details, but he threw furniture off his balcony, supposedly, at someone that he's having a disagreement with.
At someone.
It's really
supposedly. I don't know that to be true.
They're just trying to paint him out to really be a monster. They say he doesn't ever pay his bills. His trainer said that he'd be exercising and he'd fart on him and all types of crazy things. And this is like a giant.
Those are things that'll be true. Those are things that I hear to be true. I won't say true, but those are things that you hear from several sources.
Is this normal athlete behavior?
Well, a lot of people are. If you go out there, a lot of people are farting on people.
Huh?
A lot of people are farting on other people.
I don't know if I can say I farted. Yeah, back in my day, I farted on a bunch of people.
There's even a YouTuber who's like, his whole thing is like going around farting on people.
How do you know this? Like what?
It's just on YouTube. There's
a lot of things on YouTube, but I don't see a lot of them.
I wonder what his most spectacular video is.
Does he do fire thing?
I just saw
the fire
clips of it, and basically it's like a video like facing him, and he'll like in a Walmart or something, and he'll walk up to someone, fart in their area, giggle at the camera, and like leave. Like, so it's like him just farting on people.
I thought it was going to be more aggressive, like standing up on the counter and farting on somebody's face that's working.
Yeah, like in someone's nose.
Yeah, see, like that
would be harassment. Yeah, that's really mean.
That is harassment.
But that's exactly what Antonio Brown has been accused of doing.
Yeah, but so all those things, as far as I don't know the legal ramifications of that one. I just know the only thing that I believe that he's fighting in court is the furniture thrown incident. Now everything else I think might be, is for money, and from what I'm hearing, not the case is for money, but that's what he's fighting that in that type of court.
Well, that being said, it's not normal athlete behavior. You said maybe in college.
Maybe in college. You first get to college, you're free, just like most humans.
And when you're in college, you have to move 4 times.
I move a lot.
And whenever I move, I throw a lot of furniture off the balcony.
Right. So, some of the frats and some of the football teams and different athletes, not just football teams, but even the female, because I used to live in a sports dorm when I first got to college. So only athletes there. And then they got rid of that after 2 years because we was wilding out. Could you imagine coming out from home and your first amount of freedom and you're in a building with only athletes?
What is one of the craziest things that had gone down back in your college days?
I don't know who did it, but there's a lot of graffiti all over the building. I remember there was a time where, man, it was a lot of crazy. It's some things I can't even speak on. I'm not even joking. Like, you
don't have to name drop, but let's hear something really crazy.
Well,
now I'm curious.
I would say it's
interesting because these people
certain things you can't speak on, really can't, because the way today is, people will fact check, and I would say that a lot of stuff that went on was wild and out of control. Everybody has been involved, and it was.
Were they drinking? Did they ever drink?
Drink. All right, let's say this. So one of the things we did, we would turn off all the lights in the building and put big party speakers in the hallway, and we would have a party in the whole dorm. And people
only boys
out of the back door. It was crazy back then.
And this was, what do you mean, turn all the lights off? So
you turn all the lights. So basically, pull all.
They call that no homo.
Well, I can't say that, but there's a bunch of. So you pull out all the lights in the whole building, in the hallways, and you probably don't even remember these big party speakers.
Well, so you're saying it's a dome of only boys?
Speakers.
Nope, that's it. So.
Okay.
Oh, no, just because it's sports and all boys.
And you guys just need to turn the lights off.
So it was the female basketball team was there, the female swim team.
Oh.
It was sports dorm, not male dorm.
Okay.
Sports dorm. So everybody was there. But who cares about who's in the building? Because we would have those parties and let all the girls in through the back door, and we would have a party and have a good time.
Wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It sounds crazy, but nothing too like over the top. I was like wanting to be some wild story that's too hot for radio.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, just imagine all the slipping and sliding that was going on in these, like, you know,
for what reason?
Tight muscles with sweat in the dark in a dome.
Usually, it was a bunch of young guys.
A lot of slipping and sliding.
I don't know where she's headed with that one.
Okay.
So I'm not going to agree. I'm just going to pretend not to hear you.
She's having pretend exactly.
She's the best.
Keep smoking on that CBD. She's having all these crazy.
Damn, Christy.
What an imagination on Christy. But yeah, so back to our football weekend. Big weekend coming up. We all know that the Giants is probably going to get stomped out. I mean, I'm sorry. I know I'm a Giants fan. You're a Giants fan.
Yep.
It's going to be a tough one.
We love all our local teams. It's going to be pretty vicious in New York because they played the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, New York Giants at New England in Foxborough.
Not looking too good.
And anybody that ever drove there, it's not like your normal drive up to the stadium. You go through some backyards in the suburbs. It's like this just private neighborhood, residential neighborhood. You drive, and the next thing you know, that's where the stadium is. And then on top of that, this week, the Jets played Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh, 2 big games. Although the Cowboys haven't been as scary as when they started off.
Imagine this. So now they beat 3 teams that was pretty terrible, and then they lost 2 teams to 2 teams that was pretty good. So you know they're kind of, I don't want to say pissed. I probably can't say that. They're frustrated right now.
Yeah.
And they're looking to take it out on a team that's not supposedly good.
And the Jets are in the crosshairs.
Yeah, they're in a tough situation. They lost their quarterback, and I'm pretty sure they lost their middle linebacker who was balling when he first got there. And they down to like a 3rd-string quarterback that's off the practice squad, Luke Falk. He's giving it his heart.
Just terrible, honestly.
Well, I don't want to call him terrible. A lot of people, what it is, he hasn't been preparing to be the starter all season long. And he wasn't even really supposed to be playing this shit because he was on a practice squad. And I give him credit for being able to go out there and know the plays.
Well, do you think that maybe it's the Jets' fault for not going out and getting a quarterback that will be able to go out there? I mean, they just had a bye week too, right? They just had an entire week that they didn't play for them to go out there and find a quarterback.
The thing about the NFL is there's a salary cap. So I don't know if all the money is spent on defense and some other players, if they had the extra money to go get a $15 million quarterback that you could just bring on a roster and get it ready. And another thing is when you have a team that loses a quarterback and you bring another quarterback in from off the street, you have to spend time teaching him the offense, which pretty much holds everybody else back. So if you have someone in your building, at least they know the playbook already, and you just hope they can play well enough to get you through a game.
Makes sense.
Yep.
It does make sense. So, Sam, now you're still working with the New York Giants and the New York Jets. Now, out of curiosity, how does that work? As an ex-player of both of those teams, you're still in the building, still helping them out with things?
No, not like that. So basically, the way it works is it's grown to where it's today where all 32 teams do this, but the New York Giants is one of the first teams to have a system where a bunch of retired players come in and you basically do appearances. You come in, you sign autographs, you hang out with the fans, and you sit there, some camaraderie going around with a bunch of ex-players. You hang out with them, and we're spending like the game doing things like that. So we go to about 3 or 4 games for each team, and you get sometimes less, sometimes more, and you get paid to be there, and it's a good thing. You feel like you're still a part of it.
Well, you still are. You're still a part of the history and the legacy of the actual franchise. Getting to come in there and play with the kids. Actually, you brought us last year.
Yes.
To
we
something
got another
like that?
event coming up that I was going to discuss with you as well. That same thing. See if you guys want to pop up for that. Do you remember what it was?
It was you teaching these young corporate kids how to play football. It honestly was a hilarious experience.
It was fun. Yeah, we just having fun with the kids.
Because these kids were the most athletic.
So normally when we do events, it just be the Giants or Jets.
Yeah.
But this time, it's the Giants and the Jets, and we're doing it together. And it's basically like some football games going on, and we're sitting there coaching, and we be having fun teasing little kids and having a good time with them. And I look forward to it. And you guys were able to experience it last year.
I love watching you with the little kids, too.
I thought you said
you were not holding
corporate
back.
kids.
Well, it's corporate. Well, it's not corporate. Actually, this event wasn't corporate. It's more the people that had the money to have their kids.
I was thinking of
that's
like
what I was gonna
people
say, it
in
was like
suits.
young-
We do have corporate events as well.
I wasn't sure if it was corporate or what it was, but there was a bunch of little white kids running around with their parents watching them.
I think it was 1 or 2 black kids, maybe.
Sam is standing there just screaming at the sidelines, go, go!
Make the play.
Hilarious.
Oh, we on their butt, man. They didn't
Nice.
get better
Coach
that
them
day.
like NFL players.
That's a good idea. And I want to squeeze a kid, so I bet I could pick one up and squeeze it.
You know what it's called? It's really called fantasy football. So it's not like you think. It's a fantasy football where the players come and we get involved, sometimes it's usually adults and we do it and we play against each other. Normally, that was a different one. That was with the kids.